Hey everyone, it is Kat
and Amber,
and we are Wandering Soup.
What's up, Wanderers?
That's right, and we are wandering around today. We just did brunch and we're driving around looking at homes in various neighborhoods and just seeing the things. And speaking of driving around and looking at things, a lot of people have been having questions about coming to Mexico and the new laws. Is it really a law or is it just really life?
And it's not really, not new at all.
Right, about people being having your passports and things like that on you if you are traveling between cities in Mexico, if you're visiting, what are the requirements? And as Amber mentioned, this is nothing new. They're just enforcing some things, and it's going on around the world. In this pre-COVID era, this is normal almost. It's becoming the new norm. Let's start with the basics. Most people who are here, or a lot of people here, are on 6-month tourist visas, and they are seeing Mexico as much as they can, and everybody is very hoardish or locking and loading on their passports, or like, ooh, I can't have that out with me. Is that a good word?
Right. I mean, I think we have been in the habit when traveling of like keeping our passports safe. So like putting in a safe if we can in our hotel, or keeping it somewhere safe when we go out. And now that's just not the habit we have to have. We have to have a whole new way of doing things, especially here for sure.
Right. So Mexico has pushed out some new doctrine and basically said if you're traveling here, you need to have your passport on you, and you need to have your FMN card or FMM card that states how many days that you are allowed to be in the country. In the past, people have taken photocopies of that, or they've taken a picture with their phone and kept it in. So if you got stopped at places of transport like bus stations and things like that, then you could just pull that out, and it's been working. No more. They don't want that. They want to see your actual passport and your actual FMM card if you're here on a tourist visa. Now, if you're not on a tourist visa and you're here on a permanent residence or temporary residence visa, then you have a card, like a driver's license. It's an identification card, and you would show them that, and you should be good to go.
Right. You just have to have something on you.
Right.
And that's
real.
Rule. Oh, that's real, not a photocopy.
That's not a
or a screenshot.
Right, we're not doing that no more in this world. And I want everybody to know that it's not just Mexico that's tightening up on things. There are a lot of countries. We were in Vietnam, and they were kicking people out right before we left, and after we left, definitely. Living on tourist visas may be a thing of the past.
Maybe.
So you might want to keep that in mind as you're thinking about moving abroad, how long you're planning on stay, if it's slow travel, if you're planning on living there. And if you're planning on living in Mexico, you need to look into requirements for temporary residence or permanent residence here in Mexico. It's not that hard. There are procedures in place. There are income requirements. Mexico did do a little finagling. If you had been here a while, back in 2019 and above, and you've been a couple of times, then you could apply in country. If you're still in country and your tourist visa was expired, they were allowing you to apply for residence, and a lot of people have taken advantage of that. I've heard there's rumors they may extend that program. Just be on the alert for that. But if you're new, then that won't apply for you.
And if you really are just scouting it out or just visiting, then you just need to be always, what we always say, just always be aware of the expiration of your visa, whenever that may be, your passport dates. Just always be aware of those things, and just make sure you stay on top of it. Don't overstay.
Right.
Don't do any of that. Right. Now is not the time to make those kinds of mistakes.
Not the time at all. Now, if you've been here 4 or 5 years and you don't overstay, come on now.
Yeah.
Do better. Do better. And I know you're going, but what does it have to do with your passport being stolen, Kat? It has a lot to do with it, because a lot of people, as Amber mentioned, are fearful. I've been one of those people, but my passport was stolen. It wasn't stolen here, though. It was stolen when we were in Greece, and it was shocking. For about, I'd say, 2 hours. Just like, oh my God, I'm stuck.
Freaking out would be the way to describe it.
And we were in our last day in Greece, and it had been a great trip, and we were just strolling along, getting those final touristy things to go home with, and I got pickpocketed. And it happens. Greece is, and we were in Athens, is notorious for pickpocketing. So for those who are in Mexico and you're worried about you're going to lose your passport, what's going to happen then? It's really, honestly, not that complicated. It's easier than what I thought it was going to be. Amber and I were going on an escalator, I think, or something like that, to get to the bus or the subway.
Yeah, we were on an escalator, and someone forcibly really got in between us. And that should have been an indication that something was going on, because why would you bother to get in between us when you could have just gotten behind me? So that should have been an indication right there. But yeah, and then they were able to just snatch out of her bag, which was on her back. So, and I couldn't see because they were.
Right.
But anyway, that's how it went.
The bag was on my side, but I had my hands full of shopping bags too, and looking back on it, I saw them scoping us out, but I just thought they were looking at us. You know, we were black and Athens. I don't know, little stuff like that. So anyway,
right, we were obviously tourists.
Right, definitely tourists. So anyway, once we got down to the subway platform, I just said something's wrong. And I reached in my bag, which was hanging on my hip, and I had a body bag, crossover body bag, and I was like, God damn it, oops. I was like, dang it, they got me. And I knew it, I knew it, and they were gone. I mean, it's probably like, we'd only like just stepped down, and I realized that they had gotten me.
Yeah, they were very, very professional.
Yeah, it was a group of 3.
Yeah,
it was 2 girls and a guy. And I can still see their faces to this day, because if I ever run across them again, it's gonna be a conversation.
On site.
It's gonna be a conversation. But anyway, so we're doing all that, and we're freaking out. So we go back to our Airbnb in Greece, and I'm like, what do we do now? Quick Google. 30 seconds later, I'm calling the embassy in Greece, in Athens, and I was explaining the procedure to them, or explaining what happened, that I got pickpocketed and that my passport was gone. And they were like, okay, show up here tomorrow and we'll get you another passport. You got to pay for a new one, because the other one is gone now. And you'll get like a temporary one that's good for a year, and then when you get back to the States, you'll get the full one. You go back to the passport office there, and your whatever city you're in, and you'll get the real one, but they'll get you enough to get on the plane. I ended up calling, I think I was flying Delta. I think we were flying Delta. I called them and explained to them what had happened, and they were like, oh, that's so sad, so bad. And they switched my flights. No issues. Didn't pay any extra for that. So you have to have some, funds.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing that's going to cost you is funds and time.
Yeah.
I lost a day.
Inconvenience, for sure.
Definitely. We were supposed to fly out the next day. We were actually, Amber at that point was living in North Carolina, and I was in Georgia, bugs. So she went on and flew home. I ended up checking out of the Airbnb the next morning, packing my bags and getting a hotel, going to the embassy. They were waiting on me because, they had heard I talked to them the day before. They actually gave me a time to be there, and I was a little bit late because life and, mad about it still. Got there, got my passport, took about an hour or so, maybe 2, going through all the checkpoints, because there's checkpoint security and things like that, and I had my bags on me. So that was a little bit of a thing. And you have to do the same procedures, like you have to have a picture, little photos. So I have to go to a photo place to take pictures for my passport. I had to pay with credit card. I got a hotel. And then the next day after that, I flew out. I had my passport in hand when I left the embassy in Athens. And honestly, it wasn't the worst experience. It was actually probably one of the easier experiences for me. I wasn't traumatized. I was irked that I had to stay an extra day in Greece and pay extra money for a hotel. When I was just ready to go home, contacting my job, I think it just wasn't an issue. And flew in, got in the next day to the airport to leave, and I think I got a better seat, if that makes any sense. And they were, I was actually one of the last to board because my passport looked a little different, and they were just talking to me about everything going on. But I was fine. I had no issues. I can't complain. Then I got back to the States. I went, made an appointment at the passport office and got my real passport. I recommend that you get a passport book versus the passport book and the card, because now the card would work if you wanted to show if you got pulled over, you could show that passport card. I think that'll actually work for you too. And I've never been a fan of that, but I got the thick book. They have the thin book and the thick book with the extra pages. If you're planning on doing a lot of travel, I definitely recommend that you get the thicker book, because Amber has the thin book.
I don't have any issues. But yes, the moral of the story is don't be afraid to take your passport out. Things do happen. Hopefully it won't happen to you.
Right.
But if it does, there are steps to correct. And the last thing you want is to be in some kind of trouble because you don't have your documents on you. That you don't want.
Right. A lot of people have been put in, I call it timeout jail, while they verify who you are.
Yeah.
And because you don't have your passport on you, and you don't want to be in jail here. It ain't nothing nice. It is not American jail, which ain't nice either. But this definitely is not the place for you. And you can cry and everything like that, but you're still gonna be detained. And detaining in Mexico is not the way of life, kids. You do not want to do that. So with that being said, we'll see you in the next video. I'm Kat.
All right, Amber.
Peace and love, y'all.